Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're at 974 days. 974 days. And, well, we've got good news. 974 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And don't forget that the command there at Fort Bliss. And you have to understand, Fort Bliss is El Paso. El Paso is the Siamese sister city of Juarez, Mexico. And I'll show some maps later. But we were not informed. We were not contacted that Richard was missing. Okay? And that is the end of August. He went missing the month that Vanessa Guillen's remains were found. July 2020. Okay, so the end of July 2020, July 23rd. And today, it's like a bittersweet victory of a battle. The war isn't won. We haven't found Richard. But I don't know. I just made a TikTok and I'll let you listen to it. I'll let you listen to what I did. It's Here it is. Move this over a little. 974 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. Fort Bliss, the Siamese sister city of Juarez, Mexico. And good day today. And I don't know why, but I have this phrase in my head. We've got them by their doggy mask. What does that mean? We've got them by their doggy mask. We'll see. Maybe the Department of Justice, maybe the Inspector General, maybe the Attorney General, maybe they can tell me what that means. We've got them by their doggy mask. Good news. Spread it around. Maybe, maybe we'll get answers. God bless. By Richard Halliday. Yeah, that was that was my TikTok. Um, so, and the reason why this live stream is called "Take Note," DOJ. Take note. Um, they need to open their eyes. They need to understand what is going on. They're so out of touch. We have a real problem in our military. We have a doggy bass cult. We have our barracks being a marketplace for illegal drugs. And maybe this was all done on purpose, like a business plan. You give, my mom was telling me today, they're giving $40,000 for enlistment bonus. And then they say, oh, you can be all you can be. But don't forget, Enrique Roman Martinez's head rolled ashore, here in the United States, rolled ashore with his hair pulled out, his eyes gouged out. Don't forget, Vanessa Guillen was bludgeoned to death in the arms room there on Fort Hood and stuffed. I don't know how they did that. My husband said, oh, bodies don't do that when they're dead. But somehow, some way, they contorted her body to fit in a pelican case, which is like a trunk, and put it in the back of a car and take it out to the Leon River, where they proceeded to chop it up and burn it and then bury it in a foxhole, covering it with lime and concrete. And that's why there is so much outrage with that, because things haven't stopped. You had, while they were sabotaging the search for Vanessa Guillen, because, they never really wanted to find her remains. That's from reading all about it, knowing, talking to people. That's my opinion. But when June came around, don't forget Austin Hawke. He was a whistleblower, and they were making threats to him before he died. He reported those threats, I was told, and yet he was given no security. He wasn't moved from that post. They should have packed him up and moved him because he was brutally murdered. Uh, when they went to, no one even called 911. So you see, you join the military and there's no esprit de corps. There's no Medal of Honor ethos. There's no humanitarian feelings anymore. And so he was left there. Even though they heard him get brutally murdered, no one called 911. No one called the military police. Things have happened since then that you wouldn't even believe. And yeah, all it does is make you get on your knees and pray because it's so horrible. And the next day when they went to take his body out, when they went to pick him up, his head was falling off. So they had to hold his head on. And this is at Fort Stewart in Georgia. So no wonder the military right now, instead of retrenching, that's what I call it, they need to redo everything because all their programs are a failure. Instead of evaluating, investigating, and auditing their 44 four-star generals to remake the military into a proper defense for this country, they're just going to throw money at this. And they're going to offer $40,000 enlistment bonus. I don't know if our young people, and I don't think they should go near a high school, but I don't think that they understand what they're asking of them, because it's not be all you can be. It's to be harassed. It's to be threatened. It's to be part of a business plan to sell drugs to sell whores and prostitutes and grooming them and everything. That's my opinion at this point, talking to so many victims' families. And the PTSD, the mental health problem. The mental health is not good in the military. So there's just a huge problem, and they don't want to face it. And that's why all of their theaters have been failures. And, there comes a time when a warrior can't be a warrior. Why do we have to have perpetual war? Why can't they do something other than being a warrior? Why can't Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe be something different other than a general? Why can't Major General or Lieutenant General Donna Martin be something else besides a general? And 44 four-star generals, they need to find something else to do. Why do we need this perpetual war? Right now, when I'm listening to how they talk about war, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe them anymore. I don't believe them about the threats of terrorism. When I have talked to so many victims, and the victims are coming internally, internal crime, a systemic internal crime. And those internal crimes are not being addressed because they're being covered up. Just like this new soldier that was found dead at Fort Hood after complaining about being groomed into sex, threatened sexual harassment and everything. And then she's found dead, and people don't believe them anymore when they say it wasn't any foul play and she committed suicide. They don't believe it because there's been too much of those excuses, you see. And so that gets me to the point that I want to make today about Find Richard Halliday. And I'm really making this point to make people aware of what is going on, because this is a systemic problem. This is a systematic destruction of our military, intentionally or unintentionally. So when Richard went missing, it was in that time frame that Enrique's head rolled ashore. Austin Hawke was being slaughtered in his barracks. Vanessa Guillen was being searched for, and all along she's chopped up, burnt, and put into this hole by the Leon River. And not just any hole. Texas EquiSearch said, we talked to them because we were wanting them to help us find Richard. And he said it was the most sophisticated crime scene he's ever seen, with the lime and the concrete and everything. And there was no urgency to get in touch with us. And you could find us in less than a minute. And I know I've said this over and over and over again, and it needs to be said over and over and over again, because it shows you how they've dehumanized even our senior NCOs. It's dehumanized every member of the military. It's been going on so long that it's become normalized to have this kind of inhumane process in the military. And so we weren't contacted. Something is going on Fort Bliss. Something is going on that's really, really bad. And they knew it. And they knew it. Because we found out today. We talked to the notary. We spoke with the notary of Leilani Hart's complaints that she turned in to the CID and the FBI. He notarized them on the 22nd of July, 2020. 22nd of July, 2020. Now, this wasn't a one-off. This wasn't a one-time deal. There were problems, y'all, everywhere. There were problems everywhere. They were bringing in the girls during the COVID. The barracks were flushed with weapons. The barracks have become a marketplace for illegal drugs. One after the next, one after the next, tens and tens after the next. Told us there were parties every day starting at like 11 o'clock in the morning. Parties every day. The alcohol rolling. We have the defector, the young man that was in the Army there at Fort Bliss for 2 years and 1 month, he said. John McIntyre, right? And he said, you just stay drunk and you entertain yourself with whores and prostitutes. And that one of the guys had bricks of cocaine in his barracks room. Bricks piled up. You could use it for a nightstand. Okay, so problems were going on all over the place. And it was so bold that I don't think they even addressed what Leilani Hart was turning in. I don't think they addressed it. Now, I talked to James Hart because these reports were about him. The allegations were towards him. And we have found out others also. And he told me on the phone that he had been cleared by the CID. Now, this is a year ago. Okay? And we're finding out now that those allegations, those reports, were indeed notarized. And look what day they were notarized. On the 22nd of July, 2020. Now, take note, DOJ. Take note. And you have to understand that the CID special agent, Marlon Soto, he didn't tell us. He painted a very different picture. And they intimidated us. Are you ready to hear? This is from the mouthpiece of the general. Are you ready to hear about your son? Yes. But what about what was going on Fort Bliss? What about all the drugs? What about all the whores and prostitutes? What about all the blow, right? The blow is the drugs. What about all the parties? What about all the sex, vile, vulgar cults? What about the child pornography? What about the child abuse? The child sex abuse? What about the child sex trafficking? Because we know it's in the news. Just go ahead and search the human trafficking problem, the child sex trafficking problem. And we also know that out of the emergency intake center that was run by admirals, but it was there at Fort Bliss, and it's there in El Paso, but it's on federal land. And what is Jaime Esparza doing, right? The attorneys USA. What are they doing? They're supposed to be the law enforcers. They now, I found out, have some oversight over the military. The same thing with Veronica Escobar. Where is Veronica Escobar? She could have some oversight over the military, these 44 four-star generals that have gone rogue. You know, where is the law enforcement that do have power behind them, do have guns behind them, do have law behind them, that can, check the crime, restrain the crime? Because these Leilani Hart's notarized complaints about child abuse and more in her home, sexual child abuse in her home. Now, that was nothing new. We have found out that this is what we've been told. Now, if you're Leilani Hart, you need to call in. If you're Dallas Hart, call me again. If you're James Hart, call me again. Or call me. But see, the discussion is not a pretty discussion. And they get mad. They get upset. Take note, DOJ. They get upset, and that puts us in danger. It doesn't make me happy that this is being exposed. That should have been nipped in the bud years ago. as far back as 1990s, 2006, 2015. What do I have here? Make sure I get the dates right, the years, and 2019, 2020. This should have been nipped in the bud years ago. And so many children would have been saved from being raped, from being sexually trafficked. And, when Richard got there in 2018, and he was exposed to this, he's not going to stand for it. He was adopted at the age of 5. He's not going to stand for that. And no matter how much bullying or smear campaigns that they can make about Richard and the faith of our family, whatever. What faith likes children being raped? Satanism? I mean, is that what we want in the world? I don't want that. I'll take the shots, the cheap shots of bullying for being Christian, because I don't want children being raped. I don't want children being sacrificed. I don't want them being groomed. And I don't want our volunteer sons and daughters that are minors, because they can get them in at 17 years old, 18, 19, 20, and then they can use the whole drinking thing against them, because there's so much drinking in the military that it's so easily to get any of those minors under 21 caught with underage drinking. And then they can use that against them to retaliate, or to blackmail them, or to make them do what they want to do. So, I don't want them to be groomed. I don't want them to be exposed to all this vulgarity. Is that why they joined the military? And then people say, well, oh, that's been going on for so long. The doggy cults, where you have colonels pursuing sexually our volunteer sons and daughters. And are these business plans? I mean, look at this. This is a colonel, and I really just have to show it to you, because it's just, you don't believe it unless you see it. And here it is. This is a colonel and a cat. These are officers, y'all. These are officers. And yes, they had to black out their private area because they're showing their erections in uniform on our installations, our uniforms, our installations, our buildings. And these are federal. Okay, this is a federal installation, a federal building. And these officers are called GIs, government issue, because every one of us has invested interest, invested dimes, invested our time, our money, our blood, our hopes, our respect, everything into our soldiers, into our service members. And this is what's going on. And to be able to do this, you have to have a developing boldness, a growing degeneration. That's kind of like an oxymoron. So this degeneration is just spreading. And they're getting bold. And they're grooming our young sons and daughters. And Richard's not putting up with this. Okay? Richard's not putting up with that. He doesn't want to belong to a doggy sex cult and be reared and be in a homosexual relationship. Absolutely, I know my son. He didn't want to participate in that. So have they turned the military into a Vanity Fair where you have to participate or otherwise they're going to destroy you? Is that what it is? Why is it a Vanity Fair? I thought it was a military. I thought it was esprit de corps and discipline and to create an army of one for a fighting force to defend the Constitution, the land, and the people, to be army ready, to leave no soldier behind, to be all you can be as far as a trained warfighter, not a doggy sex cult rearer. That's not what Richard joined the military for, and they're lying to our sons and daughters out there. They're lying to them with this recruiting. And then when Richard goes missing, they don't even have the decency because he put in those child protective service complaints after this is what we were told, and it's shocking. That's why we've got him. Because they buried his first complaint. And so he went above and over and beyond to the Child Protective Services to make his complaint. For children's sake. For children's sake. And turned in sex videos. Now, he was the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. I bet they were pretty upset, but they would be even more upset. Just like when I talk about Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart and James Hart and what has gone on with all of that. And the family and the notarized complaints of abuse that have been going on for a long time. Have they made a business out of this? What is going on? Because when they get mad, then they get mad at me. How mad did they get at Richard? What did they do to Richard because Richard was exposing or sabotaging whatever? Because child porn is very profitable. Child sex trafficking is very profitable. So if he was messing up their child sex porn and child sex trafficking business plan, they were getting upset. I can imagine that. And I don't think that it's ludicrous for me to imagine that. Because it's right there on the border. And taking advantage of people has become a norm. So taking advantage of children might be a little bit more daring, but it's the next step. It's the next step. And to have the notary tell me, it's on record that he did indeed notarize those complaints, or a document by Leilani Hart, which everything else is forthcoming, right? This is like this is groundbreaking. This is groundbreaking because not only have we established motive, but we have uncovered a terrible, terrible crimes, terrible crimes. And that was never our intention. We were told, you need to bring us the leads. You need to bring us the leads. And the absolute absurdity of the CID, the absolute absurdity of Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, the absolute absurdity and disrespect of Lieutenant General Donna Martin. The absolute, Yeah, sitting in a chair in the middle of the room, Indian style, out of uniform during a task force find during the task force find Richard Halliday meeting with 15 plus agencies. Totally made it non-serious. Totally made it non-official. Not official. It's all a setup. So today was a good day because General McConville, they knew, y'all. They knew about the notarized child protective or the CID and FBI. How could they not know when Special Agent Tavita Nusa worked in the CID El Paso branch, the not the El Paso but the Fort Bliss branch? How could they not know? Tavita Nusa knew. He was a special agent right there in the CID of Fort Bliss. And he knew. He knew because he was good friends. He was cousin. There's even talk that they were having an affair. They were very close. He knew about the complaints. The CID knew before we even knew that Richard was missing. When they threw us out, when they threw Richard out off the rolls, they knew. When they decided, because Hannah, our daughter, had 40,000 shares on her Instagram because of Find Richard Halliday, and they brought us back in and they started intimidating us. Do you want to hear about your son? When they talked to us like the first time, and he's like, did you know that your son is an atheist? And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? They knew at that time about the child sex trafficking and the child sex porn videos, all what was going on in the Hart family. They knew that Richard put in child protective service complaints. We didn't know, but they knew. They knew that this young mother had communicated with Richard 6 times the day that he went missing. The change of command from Captain Park to Captain Yoshida. They knew all of this. They knew it was a change of command. We didn't know. They knew. They knew what was going on. And we were told by the Timmons crew, our representative, we shouldn't say that. No. The truth is, right now, we live in such a matrix. We don't want to accept the truth at all. We're being told so many lies that we don't even know the truth anymore. All of this talk about these nuclear and all this war talk. Oh, they're such a risk to us. Just like, it's like, you're the risk. You are the risk. The Department of the Justice is the risk. The military leadership is the risk. All of Washington, D.C. is the risk. We would be better off if just the states would run our country. We would be better off. I'm telling you. We're spending trillions of dollars. We're trillions of dollars in debt. And we can't get the Department of Justice to oversee the search for a missing soldier after 3 beheadings. Let's say it. Vanessa Guillen was beheaded. Enrique Roman Martinez was beheaded. Austin Hawk, people don't want to say it, but they had a hold on his head when they picked his body up. And we're paying trillions of dollars for that and not getting to the bottom of any of it. Truly. Plea deals? Plea deals in the case of Austin Hawke? That's a kick in the teeth, a kick in the gut of every service member. Of every service member. It is a green flag to continue with the crimes. And with Richard, where is he? We've been told so many ludicrous lies, and they knew. They told us that the father and that the Dollar General man, he's just some guy. He's just some guy following you on Facebook. I'm like, do you know my demographics? It's almost all women. Who is this guy? Months later, by the grace of God, we figure out who he is. The father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM has a record. Businessman. He's not like this low-life criminal. He's not. He's a very, very forthright speaker. Family man. I think he's an FBI informant because he said he's with the FBI. And why is it a secret when he has information that the FBI found Richard, found his remains? Why does he go, shh? Why doesn't he tell us? Why doesn't the Department of Justice look into that? Why is it a hush thing? And why are all these leaks a hush thing? Why is the sloppiness accepted? Because Richard's whole case has been a sloppy mess. We call it a soup sandwich. A soup sandwich from the get-go. And why is our Department of Justice tolerating that? From our military, no less. Our great defenders of the Constitution. Why are we accepting what I've said, that they have to be servicing foreign and domestic enemies, because they would never be this bad if they were really caring about the Constitution and our service members and the land and the people. They would never be this bad. And they're bad. To not reveal to us, and this is the prosecutor, the AUSAs, the attorney USAs that are right there in El Paso, that have to give to get the judge to approve the subpoenas and the warrants. They have to be involved in all of that. And so yesterday, we got an email yesterday evening, and I didn't know when I went live, from Senator Ted Cruz's office. And, I've given Veronica Escobar, we still have not even got an acknowledgement for our inquiries that we sent her. Not even an acknowledgement. So, it's like she just flicks us. She just flips us off. And the same thing with William Timmons, and the same thing with Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham. Our senator flips us off. Our representative, because, he's just so bad. But he has nobody to run against him. So These are just very wicked people. And Senator Ted Cruz, at least he acknowledges what's going on. I'll give him that. But the same old thing, this is a senator that wrote this magnificent letter. I mean, 1 to 10, it was an 11. He hit it out of the ballpark, right? Those aren't my words. Those are how people described it. And absolutely, I thought that was right on target. It was absolutely a game changer for fine Richard Halliday. And if we would have had a Department of Justice, an Attorney General, and an Inspector General that would have acted right then and there against how Senator Ted Cruz was flipped off by the Secretary of the Army. Who is she? This Christine Warmoth. I call her Warmouth. And I don't mean to be ugly, but my goodness, she flipped off a sitting senator. I think I'm being very nice. Because he had very good questions in there. Very good questions. And if she cared about service members, I think it's because of her that we have a problem with enlistment. Because she's clearly running the military into the ground, into the army into the ground. She does the army into the ground with her obscene, and they are obscene. They're insane and obscene. This is insane and obscene. Insane and obscene. And why these officers are not publicly punished for this kind of behavior. That's why we have a problem with our military. And so Senator Cruz was flipped off by somebody. She's 23 ranks lower than he is. 23 ranks lower. He has no power to wield. He has been left defenseless. And now I'm learning part of that defenselessness is because of our Department of Justice, because of our FBI. Because of our FBI right there in El Paso. Yeah. He has been left defenseless. And so that means not only he is left defenseless, but all 100 of our senators are left defenseless. And that's why we can't get things changed and done to favor the Constitution and protect the land and the people. And we sure can't get answers to a missing soldier that would not put up with child sex trafficking and very lucrative child pornography. And let me tell you, being in that uniform, being on that installation, being in that equipment, in the vehicles, the military vehicles, the military tents, being in a hostile zone, and getting those pictures and putting them out there is very lucrative. And that's why we need some major punishment. Major punishment. Because Richard didn't want to put up with that. That's not why he joined the Army, is to have a photo shoot, a porn photo shoot in military equipment and military wear and military installation, hostile zone, whatever. And he told me, Mom, it's so bad. It's so bad. I don't even want to be a junior. I don't want to be an NCO. I don't want to be anything. I just want to get out now. I want to do my time and get out. And I'd call him and he said, no, I'm in my room. I'm getting in trouble. I got to stay in my room. He made a video shortly before he disappeared, and he visibly was afraid for his life. He bought 5 days before he disappeared. He bought a pistol. We still don't have that pistol. We do have the registration number of it, but we don't have that pistol. And why would people be so vicious and bully us and everything if foul play was not involved in this? This screams foul play. For one, because the CID knew everything and they did not reveal it to us. They hid it from us. They hid it on purpose from us. They try to control every narrative. And there's probably more that we don't know, that we haven't discovered yet. Do we have to go another 1,000 days to discover everything? Now, I think today was a good day because the notary absolutely guaranteed us that he would testify that he notarized that document. He will also testify to other things. In my opinion. Things that he told me. Not about the document, but other things. And not because he's like so willing, but because it's on record. It's on record. He is a professional. And so it's on record. And he told me he absolutely understood why we would want to find our son. He would want to find his children. I don't know if he has children, but he would want them found. And we do that for our pets. We search and search and search for our loved pet, right? And so for others to get upset at us and put us in danger, I mean, we've gotten threats. Where is the Department of Justice? Are the attorneys, the prosecutors, are they going to guarantee us safety? Are they going to guarantee us security? They go into these secure buildings. Their whole life is surrounded by security. Are they going to guarantee us security? Because they're the ones that told us, the CID told us to go get leads. The general, bring us leads. Oh, yeah. Bring us leads. So, you go digging to get leads, and you're going to be put in danger, especially when it comes to lucrative business plans that include child sex trafficking and child pornography. So, Senator Cruz, we're going to respond to him tomorrow. We are really thinking about what we need to say to him. And I think he is a clever man. I can't believe that response was so bad. So bad, so low. And the more I think about it, the more I realize how bad it was. And so I'm going to wait until tomorrow. We're going to respond to him tomorrow. Merrick Garland, he needs to absolutely pay attention, take note here and do something. We have CID and FBI files with numbers, the numbers, and they're notarized. And they lead to a long history of complaints. And Richard made complaints. And Leilani Hart wanted Richard's file. And videos are tampered with. Videos are missing. And Richard turned in sex videos. And then one last thing that Merrick Garland and Horowitz. So let's look at, because I'm learning who all these people are. This is the Inspector General. Okay. So it is Michael Horowitz. And, this is a big deal too. Falsifying documents. Is that travel voucher? Is that I don't know if it's a falsified document. They could do it and they could turn it over, but where are the witnesses? Where is the generals writing a letter and signing the letter with a stamp on the right letterhead that absolutely clears veteran First Lieutenant Dallas Hart? Where is that? That would make things, and we have so many other questions, so many leaks, and so many people that have harassed us and bullied us. Where, and this is the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. Where are they to protect the whistleblower? They say they have a whistleblower protection. Where are they? And they don't like domestic violence. Well, when friends of bully and threaten, where are they? Where are these law enforcers? And I have to learn everything. I'm so glad I have so many smart people that are helping us along. So many. Oh my gosh, they're just brilliant. And it has helped us get the word out. It has helped us discover who people are. It has helped us chop away at every possibility. And right now, the possibility that's standing very straight is that Richard was murdered. That's the one that's really big. Richard was murdered. There is motive established, and do I like saying that? No, but I have to say it. I have to say it so people understand what is going on. Because Richard didn't just walk away. And Richard did not commit suicide. And Richard didn't get in an accident. He might have been abducted, but I think he was murdered. And that's it. Those are the options. So I'll take your comments now. Oh yeah, I have this. I like to
I agree with Mrs. Halliday that there needs to be an independent outside third party. Together we're going to look into what we need to do in order to involve the FBI.
Congresswoman Veronica Escobar calling for an independent investigation into
That was
Fort Bliss
in
soldier Richard
2020.
Halliday's disappearance. He has been missing for more than 2 months. The Congresswoman joined the Halliday
Now
family
it's almost
today at a
1,000
rally where
days.
she announced that she would be working to involve the FBI to look at the possibility of foul play. As we've reported, the soldier's mother, Patricia Halliday, does believe there was foul play in her son's disappearance. She says recently a young woman called her, and that woman telling her she saw another soldier in possession of Richard Halliday's credit.
Yep. Okay, so thank you, Danielle. I don't think she cares, in my opinion. Are you talking about Veronica Escobar? I think so. How all agencies have handled Richard Halliday's disappearance investigation should all be held accountable in court of law for gross negligence, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. And crimes. Even more crimes than that because of asymmetric warfare crimes, using their military operations against us. I mean, sending in a senior leader into the military police there at Fort Bliss to smear Richard. That's sabotage of a missing soldier. How low? Who's involved in this? See, this is where, it's not absurd when they get that daring and you have colonels wearing dog masks and showing their erections. Who's involved in this? Who's involved in this? Because they didn't think you would be able to retrieve leads. They were trying to cover it, seems to be, in my opinion. Yeah, but, they didn't want to get the leads. They were like, oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And I'm like, there's a lot here because what you're telling me is so absurd. And did I know what was there? We didn't know what was there. And that's why this last Sunday was really important because it was that verse. Eyes cannot see, ears cannot hear, the mind cannot perceive the absolute wonder, the truths that God will reveal to you, the wonders that God will reveal to you, to those that love him. And I was told today that the reading of Richard, reading Hebrews, was very moving because he said, and they will be charged. He misread it instead of changed. And was that something of a premonition or something? I don't know. But I think they should be charged. And today was a very good day because if a notary has information, then the Department of Justice, the attorneys, Attorney General, the IG, they can absolutely subpoena him. They can absolutely get a testimony from him. And that's what we're asking for right now. And it's golden. And then open up those complaints. They've got the CID and FBI case numbers for them. So let's open them up. And then they can look at all the other things being involved, what Richard was complaining about, the sex videos, the relationship. There's another thing that popped into my head today that I'm going to look into tomorrow. That is, so everything is coming together, and it was a very good day. So we'll see. Will it take more time? We don't know. We can't see, we can't hear, we can't perceive. We can just do our due diligence and move forward and keep searching and keep asking people for help. And so this notary, he was very helpful. So, and he said he would help. I don't know if they're going to scare him. They're going to get to him. I don't know. I know his name. I know what he said to me. And it was very, very revealing. There's a pattern here. I can tell you that. There's a pattern of disruption. There's a pattern of crime. There's a pattern of wanting to hide things. And the Child Protective Services is part of that pattern. They need to reveal it. And the same thing with those sex videos. And so all of that needs to be revealed. And also the communication that Boleyn had with Richard on the day that he disappeared, that needs to be revealed. And so now all the other stuff is just crimes of cover-up, right? Crimes of cover-up. But they absolutely know things. And I don't know why they've covered this up. I don't know. I don't know who's friends with who and who's involved with who and where that money's going. I don't know. It has to do with money. I just have that feeling that it has to do with payoffs and people, once it all gets investigated, it will be shocking, because it has to be that big for them to use the methods that they have to try to cover this up. It just has to be. And that's not how our government should work. Our government is about justice. And justice is about getting it out in the open. It's about transparency, and it is about accountability. There has to be accountability. And people can't, there has to be a line. You see, there has to be a rule of law. And that rule of law has to be moral. And at this point, our government is not moral. They don't want to be moral. And that's why they don't want to uphold our law, because that would make them moral. And they're just, it's like they're allergic to being moral. It's like their religion or something, to be immoral. And it's so destructive. Both cell tower and cloud dump. Absolutely. Absolutely. They and I'm sure they already did it. I'm sure they have it, because we've gotten the leaks. We've gotten the leaks. There are people that are so afraid, and they're so This is another thing. You join the army to be so afraid in your own uniform, in your own unit, on your own installation. It's not like you're in a foxhole facing China or Russia. No, you're facing your own command, and you're shaking. Something's wrong. Was that Escobar only press release regarding Richard Halliday? Yes, I believe so. I believe so. She did meet with Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, but so we haven't heard from her since then. That's 2020. And now we put in an inquiry with her. I think Rob did too. And we haven't even gotten an acknowledgement that she received it. No, we got that from Dolores talking to someone that works in her office, someone that works for her. And that's a leak. And that's, uncouth, unprofessional. And to tell Dolores, oh yeah, we got that inquiry from Farm Richard Halliday. Like we're just like some old shoes to throw away. I know. Absolutely. So, thank you. Thank you, Jerry, for coming on. Fox News, let's say his name and keep his face out there. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, we found out some other information today that was very, very important, but I can't tell you because I want to protect a person. And that's also, endangering us, because we shouldn't have to try to protect a person. That should be the job of the law enforcement. That should be the job of the military. Especially when it comes to trying to find the first CONUS Dust 1 missing soldier under the new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart. They're a distinguished honor graduate from basic training and AIT for his cycle. They should be doing all of that. And that's why when volunteer sons and daughters or parents or just the mass populace see that the Army does not have Richard's back, does not have our soldiers back, our service members back, that they left them there in Afghanistan. I think that was the biggie, that they didn't even give the sharpshooter permission to shoot the people that were shooting our Marines. Until there is a retrenching, right? Until there is an investigation, until there is auditing of our leadership. And that needs to be done by the Department of Justice. That needs to be done. I don't know. You tell me. How is this going to get done? And we're left defenseless. They want to go and take what we have, and that are just in there for the money. Okay, let me just get in there just for the money, and $40,000 or whatever, and they're gonna go and not have any proper training, like what's going on in the Ukraine right now. And you're just gonna have so many fallen men and women. And not only fallen, but cut up and raped and all that other stuff. So, this is a national security alert. This is a national security threat. And, just finding Richard would be a good move to show some goodwill to get back to defending the Constitution. Cleaning up they have so much cleaning up to do. So we're going to keep going because the stars in their course fought against Sisera. We're going to find out, just like today. That was amazing day, y'all. Amazing day. I just can't even tell you, when I got that phone call, it was absolutely golden. Golden. So we have the CID FBI file numbers, and we have confirmation of the notary, and we know who the notary is. So anyway, thank you so much. God bless you. I'll be back tomorrow, God willing. And just keep saying your prayers and keep sharing. Share. And I'm going to try to learn some more things on this Restream OBS thing, and try to reach out to more people, because that is our only recourse, is to reach out to so many people that Merrick Garland and Mr. Horowitz will have to pay attention. And so will Jaime Estrada. I think that's his name. Let me see. See these names. Esparza. Jaime Esparza. If he will pay attention, I've wrote them. Rob's wrote them. We put it all together. We sent it out. We sent it out to that whole team. So let me see if the whole team is on here, and I can. Yeah, you have all these divisions. Let's see, where did I see those names? Anyway, meet the U.S. Attorney. I got that. No. And then where are all these pictures? Former U.S. attorneys? Oh no. Sorry, y'all. I'll find it and put it. Is it in the contact us? No. But we had about 5. One's McDonald. There's an Ian in there. There's, where are their pictures? And then here it says civil rights complaint. I'm like, oh yeah. Victim witness assistance. Oh yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. So, okay. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I'll be